Okay, we're back for Survivor Series 2002. Once again, we're at Madison Square Garden. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely arguably one of the best Survivor Series, I think, of all time. And it was, I really feel like in 2002, the WWE had a it's probably the best pay-per-view run they've had. I feel like you could argue every pay-per-view from Vengeance until Survivor Series was great. I think it's one of the best runs on pay-per-view they've ever been on. I mean, I just feel like this is exactly how you do a pay-per-view. I mean, they don't make pay-per-views like this anymore. Just an awesome show. What were your memories on it?
Just, looking at this match, this pay-per-view, the talent. There's so much talent, and there's so many guys, great wrestlers on this show. And, in our last video in 95 and 96, I talked a little bit about how the athleticism increased from the early 90s, and in this one, you could just see the athleticism, of a lot of the guys in the show. I mean, it's really, for the most part, it's a stacked card. I mean, every match is worth talking about, to some degree. They really put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, it was only 6 matches, but I feel like even, Brock and Big Show might have been the worst match of the night, but it probably was like the most memorable thing of the night. So it was a very well-rounded show.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start off with the first match tonight. You had Jeff Hardy, Bubba Ray Dudley, and Spike Dudley taking on 3-Minute Warning, and Rico actually switched from SmackDown to Raw at this time. Yeah, but I thought this was an awesome way to start off the show. I think this is exactly what you want an opener to be. Let's face it, like it's not why people went to the show, but it really kicks the show off with a bang. The reuniting of the Dudleys was great. Jeff Hardy took some nasty bumps out there. It was just entertaining, great action. It was a little bit botchy, though. You heard a lot of, you fucked up chants, but it was just a lot of fun to start this pay-per-view off, this 6-man table elimination match, to be exact.
Yeah, Spike Dudley takes a lot of punishment. I think he's the first one eliminated, but he takes a lot of punishment. Jeff Hardy, I mean, he's still really great, but
he did the same swanton that he did at the Garden at Royal Rumble 2000. Because they have that lower Titantron, so he was able to jump off the balcony onto the table. So that looked really cool.
It's a really cool spot, and just his whole moveset, the way he moves. He's such a unique wrestler. Jeff Hardy. There's a recklessness about the way he approaches the high flyer style that just kind of makes him stand out, and that was awesome. And Rosie and Jamal, those guys, for as big as they are, they take a lot of punishment and they do high flyer moves. So they were a lot better than I think I even gave them credit for at the time when I was watching it. It was a good opener.
And you weren't a huge Dudley's fan, but the Devon kind of ditching the Reverend Devon and reuniting with Bubba. It was one of the best moments of the night, I would say, right?
Yeah, no, the crowd went crazy for it. Yeah, they did the 3D into the table I think it was on Rico, right?
Yeah, Rico, yeah.
Yeah. So it was good. No, it was good. It was a good opener.
And then we move on to the next match. We had Jamie Noble coming out there with Nydia, defending his Cruiserweight Championship against Billy Kidman. I thought this was great stuff. Probably not the best Cruiserweight match that year. I'd probably go with Kidman and Tajiri, but, you really got to see the great wrestler that Jamie Noble was here, which he was not really able to show a lot of, but he is very, very a great wrestler. I mean, he's really, I would say he's one of the best wrestlers in the world at this time. I definitely put him in that upper echelon. And, just the way he was able to do a DDT here, I don't think there was anyone that could execute, moves like that better than him. Him and Kidman just had a pretty awesome match right here for the amount of time that it went.
Yeah, what did they have, 7 minutes or something like that?
It went a little bit under, probably like 8.5 minutes.
8.5 minutes, yeah. I mean, that's not a lot of time. But, cruiserweight title matches, especially in WWE, weren't going to get a lot of time. They did the best they could with what they had. I made a comment during the match that I think there was a near fall that it's like, man, if this match were like 18 minutes long, there'd be a whole lot more drama and there'd be a whole lot more suspense leading into a near fall.
You kind of felt like because they didn't have a lot of time, they had a I felt a little bit rushed, maybe.
It did feel a little bit rushed, but like you said, they did the best that they could with the time that they had to have a suspenseful match. And by the end of it, I kind of ate my words because the crowd really was into those near falls. And Billy Kidman hit the shooting star press. Every time he went for that shooting star, it always looked like his foot was going to hit the rope. Which I wouldn't be surprised.
You know what, Kidman? When I look back on it, Kidman didn't really hit the shooting star press like as I don't know, like really when he used to go for it, it always looked a little bit like he almost might not fully rotate.
Right.
Like someone like Matt Sydal. You remember Matt Sydal or Evan Bourne? Mm-hmm. Like when he was in his prime, it looked like it was like nothing for him. But with Kidman, it did look a little bit awkward here. But he was able to hit it. But you mentioned that you thought Billy Kidman was going to be the next Bret Hart at one point.
I don't know. I guess because he had black hair and he was I don't know. That was back when I first saw him. I was kind of hopeful. I thought he was really good, and I thought maybe he had he might have the potential to be like a main player someday.
Both guys, looking back on it, both guys were tremendous athletes, tremendous wrestlers. The thing with Kidman, I do remember Kidman actually worked with Hogan in WCW, and I don't know, I guess Hogan didn't want to work with him. He made a comment saying that, Kidman couldn't draw people at a flea market because he had like no charisma or something like that. So I don't know, I guess Billy Kidman, I think maybe that's what hurt him the most is maybe a lack of charisma.
Yeah, I get.
You did think he was going to be the next Bret, right?
Yeah, well, I think it was just based on the way he looked. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next match we had Trish Stratus defending the women's championship against Victoria in a women's hardcore match. I thought this was awesome, the amount of time that it went. I mean, they punished each other. You saw that Trish's pretty face almost get like annihilated a couple times. Victoria was playing this psycho gimmick where she was very emotional. She was like a drama queen, and everything about this match was really good. I just thought the finish was a little bit abrupt, but this without a doubt could have been, and maybe it still is, probably the best women's match of 2002. So Trish and Victoria, just great stuff for the amount of time that it went.
Yeah, much. I had so much respect for these women at the time when I first saw it, and I still do. I mean, I think the women wrestlers today, I think, should really look at these two and really thank them for what they did. And so cool what Trish Stratus did, because she did not have to flip the script and become a wrestler. She was.
I mean, she was so hot that she could have just relied on her looks.
She was the Pam Anderson of the WWE. She was the Pam Anderson of wrestling. That's how I looked at her, and she just like said, "I don't want to just be that. I want to be a wrestler." Right. And she became one of the best,
smart, because it was only going to last. It was only going to last for so long. They would have moved on from her. Eventually, if she didn't recreate herself. So she was, it's amazing what she did.
And it's important to notice the crowd was chanting like, "We want puppies."
HLA, right?
HLA in the beginning of the match. By the end of the match, they were into the match.
Well, you made a comment. You felt like everybody was making a conscious effort to really change the perception at the time, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Jerry Lawler was making a conscious effort to change the perception of women at the time, if you listen to his commentary, but they definitely worked to change the perception of what women can be, and it didn't change right away. But I think Trish Stratus and Victoria, I think they really tried to make the women's title really mean something, and this match is badass,
And then the next match, we have Brock Lesnar defending the WWE Championship against The Big Show. And this was where Brock Lesnar turned babyface and Paul Heyman turned on Brock. So, yeah, this, I do remember leading up to this pay-per-view that they were actually trying to get the Hogan and Brock rematch done for Survivor Series. But, the report was that Hogan didn't want to put Brock over again and they could never come to a deal. So instead we got the Big Show going up against Brock. I mean, this is probably the worst match of the night because it just didn't go that long. But What a reaction for Brock Lesnar. This is probably the most over Brock ever was, and Brock probably got like top 10 biggest pop of all time when he came out. I would definitely put that.
I disagree that it's the worst match of the night, only because they did accomplished everything they wanted to
It's
accomplish.
tough to pick a bad match on this show. Isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you have to judge it as what they did exactly what they wanted to do. The crowd went crazy for Lesnar, and I did not think he could pick Big Show up the first time.
No, I didn't either.
And when he picks him up, the crowd is in awe. They're like, "What the hell is happening?" And then he F5s him like he's F5ing Billy Kidman. Like he just spun him. It was amazing.
I think it was the best F5 that he ever did on Big Show.
By the way, yes, but by the way, Big Show has very little control over how he gets swung in that move. That's all Lesnar.
Yeah,
that's all Lesnar swinging. Throwing his body around. It was such an impressive.
And it's impressive too, because I think Brock had like 2 broken ribs when he did the F5 too. So is
that true?
It was incredible.
That wasn't just a storyline. He actually.
No, he did. Yeah.
Oh wow.
He did. Yeah.
He is a tough son of a bitch, that Brock Lesnar. He always has been. But I think this is, I mean, watching it again, it's like, whoa, it's one of the greatest moments I've ever seen.
But what do you think of the Paul Heyman reaction? I thought that might have been the best thing Heyman ever did. The reaction when Brock looked at him.
Give Heyman a lot of credit. I think you got to give Paul Heyman a lot of credit for helping move it to this place, I mean, he just helped with the drama, Yeah, and yes, that reaction is priceless, and the camera closes up on his eyes.
I mean, when you watch this match, it's like you had no choice but to turn Brock face when you see how popular he was on this show. But I always feel like I think it was just a little bit too soon, because by WrestleMania 19, by Backlash when he fought Cena, they started booing Brock. They were cheering for Cena. So I've always felt like long term it was an awful decision to turn Lesnar face. But at the time, he just had so much momentum. I don't know. I always envisioned Angle being babyface, challenging Brock for the title at WrestleMania. I thought that would have been the better way to go. But I don't know. I think you could argue either way. So.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. You also have to remember, in this era, or that era, especially, maybe still today, it was just the cool thing to root against the babyface. It was cool to root for the new guy coming up, and then once they turn face, then the smart marks and the people around they turn against them. And I'm not saying it happened with everybody, but it happened with a lot of guys. Eventually, a lot of the baby faces they tried to put together, and in some cases manufacture, ended up getting booed, and so, but I don't know. I agree with you. I think if the Hogan thing worked out and it was Brock versus Hogan, that would have been one of the only ways to keep the fans booing Lesnar if he went against Hogan. I think that might have been one of the only ways to make it work, or someone like Hogan, who has that legendary status.
Yeah. Plus, the Garden always loved Hogan because of the history and all that stuff. So who knows how that reaction would have went? But yeah, I did want to make this point though. I noticed specifically at Madison Square Garden, when you're like a heel on the verge of becoming a babyface, like those are when the Garden gives you those monster reactions. Like, you ever notice that?
That's right. Yeah, just like Sid.
Sid. Yeah.
6 years earlier. Yeah, I know. New York City. Wow.
Yeah. All right. So the next match of the night, we had the triple threat elimination match with the SmackDown Super Six. We had Edge and Rey Mysterio defending the SmackDown titles against Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, and the Guerreros of Eddie and Chavo. So yeah, the SmackDown Super Six elimination match. You made the reference that the wrestling at a certain point in this match was almost too good. It just gave you such a high that it was like, how do you follow it?
Well, it did, I think that's just it. Yes, the stuff that Benoit and Angle were doing in that whole period was just out of this world, and it was just a lot of great wrestling, a lot of athleticism, and a lot of punishment with those German suplexes and over the head belly suplexes. And everybody in this match looks great. Everybody looks amazing. Rey Mysterio is incredible. But yeah, no, I mean it's a good match. But I also think there's a little bit of miscommunication in matches like this when you could tag in anyone at any time, and three-way.
Well, that's the thing. You could tag in anybody. Yeah, that kind of made it a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, this match just had sequences with obviously the Eddie Guerrero sunset flip with the Benoit Germaning edge. That that's one of the best spots of the year. I think there was like a Guerrero frog splash, and then Benoit does the flying headbutt out of nowhere.
Oh yeah!
So it just had like breathtaking action at certain points. But when Angle and Benoit got eliminated, I don't know. Like you heard the fans booing, and then you saw a lot of the communication problems that you talked about come out at the end of the match.
Yeah.
It's almost like they wanted to kill the crowd. When Eddie got his submission victory with the lasso from El Paso to make Rey Mysterio tap out. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to kind of, they didn't want the crowd to be, have such a high for that tap out. I don't know what the mindset was. I've always thought, if this opened up the show, it would have been such a much better match. I feel like, even though this is the SmackDown Super 6, I don't feel like this was one of the best matches in that period, though. I think there were so many matches that I will put over this. But, I was happy to see Eddie get his victory, though.
I agree.
I thought that was cool.
They had better matches on SmackDown.
Yeah.
There were better matches on SmackDown.
Much better.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. All right, so next up, we had Scott Steiner coming out to interrupt Chris Nowinski and what was it? And Matt Hardy.
V1.
And do you have anything to say about Scott Steiner's WWF or re-debut?
I have nothing to say about Scott Steiner's WWF debut. All I'm going to say is that I still wish that Matt Hardy never stopped the V1 gimmick. I think he was amazing. I think he was hilarious, and I really think he could have kept going with that for years. So it's a shame.
I did say that if we spent 5 minutes talking about Steiner, that we fucked up and we got to do the video over again. So I'll just move on to the main event. We have Triple H, Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and Shawn Michaels in the first ever Elimination Chamber match presented by Eric Bischoff. I guess Bischoff is going to get the credit for the idea. But yeah, I thought it was a cool concept. At the time, I thought it was really cool, like really refreshing. I thought the match turned out much better than I anticipated it. My one gripe at the time was you didn't really get to see Van Dam and Shawn Michaels go at it, which was what a lot of people were expecting when RVD got eliminated. People at school were saying that a lot of people actually left the arena after Van Dam got eliminated, but the match has aged very well. When you look back on it, you kind of just accept, Rob Van Dam's, for what he gave in the match. I thought he was great for the amount of time that he was in there for. It was very innovative. Probably the most innovative stuff ever in the Elimination Chamber. It came within the first couple of minutes with, RVD and Triple H going at it. But, yeah, man, Shawn Michaels kind of validating his return with him surprisingly winning the championship. What were your thoughts on the match as a whole?
Well, yeah, no, you made a good point. That first 10, 15 minutes, it's almost like the match was made for Van Dam. It almost started to feel like
Spider-Man thing. Yeah,
that Spider-Man thing was amazing. That thing is so cool. He was so innovative. And
but you did. I mean, we I know people are sick of the RVD and Triple H. Talking about the politics that went on there. But you did mention that, Triple H busted his ass to make Van Dam look good. Didn't you say that?
Right. I think they all did. Jericho and Triple H, worked very hard in this match to have Van Dam look like a potential top babyface. So that's why I don't like to get back into the dialogue of Triple H holding people back, this and that, because I think that RVD, they made him look like $1 million while he was in the match. I agree. I wouldn't have had him get eliminated first, but
he actually got eliminated by Booker T with a drop kick. It was just kind of abrupt. That's the biggest gripe I have with the match.
After he did the frog splash off the top of the pod,
and he crushed Triple H's trachea, which is, you mentioned, was right by your Adam's apple, which is a very sensitive area. Like if you just touch your Adam's apple a couple times, you're going to feel a little bit raspy in that area. So it's a very sensitive area.
Everyone who's listening to this video right now, touch your Adam's apple so you know exactly what Robin's talking about. No. I mean, yeah, no. I can see why that it might have hurt Van Dam, and I'm sure Triple H is a tough son of a bitch for going like another 25 minutes or more, in this match with the bruised trachea, but it happens. I think if Triple H had been closer to the center of the ring, I don't think that would have happened.
It's kind of like the opposite of the shooting star press at WrestleMania 19. So I agree.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, obviously the story of the match is Shawn Michaels getting his revenge on Triple H with the don't hunt what you can't kill type of thing. Yeah. I know Shawn, a lot of people that aren't big wrestling fans, they were kind of critical of Shawn because the way he looked in this match. He definitely looked skinny, looked like he lost weight, but people don't understand. Shawn was, the idea was if he came into this match with less weight, it'd be a lot less pressure on his back. So that's why Shawn looked a little bit ultra skinny here, but he definitely
took some bad bumps on his back too. The bumps that these guys take in this match, you go, oh man, these guys are taking a lot of punishment. Sometimes you go, oh, man, is this worth it? These poor guys, I think RVD doing like a rolling thunder on the
steel grate.
On the steel grate, like he held his lower back because there's no give on those things. You need give in order to do moves like that and not get hurt.
And what's kind of underrated is Jericho too. Like I thought he performed great. I think they wanted the heel to have a lot of the eliminations. That's why Jericho won, eliminated Booker T and Kane with the lion salt. Mm-hmm. And I just thought he had a great trash talking throughout the whole night. He kept calling Shawn Michaels a son of a bitch. He's like, come on, HBK, you son of a bitch.
Jericho being Jericho.
Just he was great.
As usual.
Yeah, so when it came down to Jericho, Triple H, and Shawn, I thought they had great chemistry. I thought there was some good stuff there. The super kick to the walls of Jericho. It was a cool way to get Jericho out of there. And I just thought Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they really created magic with that finish. I thought it was an awesome finish.
Absolutely. No, it was a hell of a finish. It still is. And Shawn kicking out of the pedigree, it's like, whoa, but, did getting that super kick in. And, yeah, it was a great moment. You said you wish Shawn would have been willing to hold on to the title longer, or at least have another title.
I just feel like I just didn't like the way it felt like he just borrowed it for a month and gave it back to him.
It would have been cool. It would have been cool to see Shawn like have a long reign again, but he just decided that that's not what he wanted. But it validated him so that when he went on for other matches, when he fought for the title again at WrestleMania 20 and WrestleMania 23 against Cena, it was you thought that there was a possibility that he could win. But as time went on, you'd be like, okay, he's not going to win it again because he doesn't want to and he doesn't need to. He was right. He did need to win the title again. But.
Yeah, I think they made the right decision. But so to wrap it up, I mean, I think we could both agree this is probably the best Elimination Chamber of all time. I think it's debatable, but I would assume you think that.
The Chamber? This is the one that stands out most to me. I haven't seen the others in a really long time, but this was the one that was always kind of like, because it was the first one, so it was the most fresh. Yeah. And RVD. RVD, like,
he was great.
The show, and
stole the show.
Was this the only one? Well, not the whole. Well, the entire show.
Was it the only chamber that Van Damme was in?
But there was a different level of excitement when RVD.
Yeah, I just feel like he had the most talent here. I feel like this one and the Benoit Jericho one a couple years later.
Did RVD ever do another chamber match?
I think he was in the one from December to Dismember when Bobby Lashley won the ECW title. That's the only one I could think of. I think Shawn was in two more after this, but yeah, man. I actually had this as my greatest Survivor Series match of all time. I did the top 25 Survivor Series matches, and someone on the video put, there was a couple comments. Someone said, "Oh, I like the old Survivor Series matches better," and someone actually put, "Go fuck yourself." So I don't know. So I could understand it though. Like the older Survivor Series, they had such a great tradition that is kind of like, when you think of Survivor Series, you don't necessarily think of this match. So, but it's true though. I think I still think it really holds up as the best.
Go fuck yourself over liking classic Survivor.
Andre versus Hogan
over the Elimination Chamber. Hey, calm down, everybody. Relax. It's not that big of a deal. If you like, not everybody has to like what
Well, you know
like.
what the thing is, like the match quality just changed over the years. It's just when you evaluate the older Survivor Series with this, it's just tough to compare it. I mean, what they did in this match was epic.
The business was different. It became more athletic. There was more of a hardcore element. Later on. And the pace picked up too. It was faster paced, and it was just different. The crowd's different, the business is different, and if that's why when you go back through the years and watch these different pay-per-views, you have to watch it through that lens, understanding where the wrestlers were, where the business was as a whole at the time, where the audience was, and so yeah, you have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, we'll wrap it up, and I just want to make this point. I think the Chamber worked best at Survivor Series, though. I really don't like the way they had the Chamber in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania as that pay-per-view. I just felt like that was a bad place for it. I know sometimes it worked. The 2009 one when Cena lost the belt, that was shocking to everybody. Right. But I just feel like it was, because it's an elimination match, I thought it really fit the Survivor Series theme. So I was always disappointed that they never went back to it at Survivor Series. I just felt like the Chamber always felt a little bit filler to have it right before WrestleMania, but that's just a minor gripe.
And that's another business thing, because they figured, like a lot of things in our culture now, it's a lot of short-term throwaway sort of stuff, whether it's being released on TV or streaming devices or whatever. Yeah. As time went on, it was more about, hey, we're going to put guys in a chamber matchup once a year, than it was about the storyline. The storyline here really fit what was going on with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, really, really well. But when you have a chamber match every year, it's not about the guys anymore. It's not about the storyline. It's not even about what's going on, with the talent. It's really just about, we need to have a chamber match in between the two so we can get eyeballs on our pay-per-view.
Sell tickets.
Sell tickets. Yeah. And you're doing it every year, so now it's not special anymore, and that happened with a lot of pop culture stuff, but it certainly happened with WWE. Now you have to have a TLC match every year. Now you have to have a Money in the Bank match every year. Now you have to have an Elimination Chamber every year, and that's okay. Some people are fine with that, but it took away the special quality of it.
All right, guys. So that's Survivor Series 2002, and this might be it for classic Survivor Series reviews, but we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll give another one, but we'll see. All right. Hope you enjoyed it, and take care. All right.